Okay, we have before us an agenda. Oh, we've already approved the agenda, sorry. Presentation and discussion. First, we have policy GAD, professional learning opportunities with Mr. Derek Hershey. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the reminder about Valentine's Day, Darla. I appreciate that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Adrian's got it, huh? So I would like to propose a revision to board policy under personnel GAD, professional learning. We are primarily requesting to revise this policy to remove the unnecessary language under the recommendation of GSBA so that we're not locking ourselves into a vendor necessarily or also a position with a district leader. And so when we tie professional learning, we want to tie it specifically to action plans and use a collaborative approach between our district and our school-based leaders. Under this revision, also under GSBA, we also defined what a stipend is, and oftentimes we are using the word stipend and supplement interchangeably. And so at the end of this, you'll see where there's a clear definition of what it means and then what conditions are required to meet the requirement of the stipend. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
30 days, right?
Yes.
Mr. Hershey, if you don't mind, pull up the resolution in support of impact fees on the screen so that it's up there when we get to it, please. You say? We are, but I just wanted to pull that up on the screen. Do you want me to drive on these next couple?
I guess so.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. At our board, this is just for the public, the board members knows this. At our board retreat in January, the board decided that we would start going through our policies during work sessions, 2 or 3 at a time, until we go through all of them, just to make sure that if we need any revisions, we can address them at the time. And so we're starting at the very beginning with policy AD, school attendance zones. This was originally adopted July of 2019. I'm sure you've had a chance to review it. Are there any recommendations in terms of any revisions? Are we good with this one in terms of moving forward? Okay, I'm just going to fly through these unless you stop me, okay? Next one, policy BBA, is around board officers, the election of board officers, which you recently took care of. Any recommended changes for policy BBA, which was adopted in August of 2006? Good with that? Okay, and then finally, school board governance, and what we decided at the retreat, that every year at the beginning of the calendar year, we would just go through these just to, again, it's really not so much for the board as it is for the public in terms of our roles and responsibilities. So if you don't mind, this was adopted in June of 2019. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do want to read the 15 bullet points if you don't mind. Number 1, students' interest comes first. Number 2, we do not spring surprises on other board members or the superintendent. Number 3, communication between staff and the board is encouraged as long as it follows board policy. Number 4, that we follow the chain of command. 5, we own the collective decision-making process, meaning we support the majority decisions of the board. Number 6, we exemplify the governance role. And the governance role, again, for our audience, the governance team is the school board superintendent and members of the superintendent's cabinet. 7, the board will annually conduct a self-assessment evaluation, which this board does do. Number 8, clearly state goals, which we typically do in the summer. We have 4 goals for this current school year that we've had for the last couple of years. Number 9, utilize superintendent input. Number 10, that the board acts only as a body. And what that means is individual board members do not have authority. It's only when the board acts as a whole. Number 11, meeting protocol, basically, which means school board meetings are business meetings conducted in public. And I know sometimes we've had conversations with members of our public. There's a misperception by some that a board meeting is like an open meeting or open forum, which is it's not. The board has to conduct its business in front of the public. This board does allow public participation, as you know, at our regular board meetings where we give members of our public 3 minutes to speak. But it's not like a public forum where there's an exchange back and forth between the board and the public. 12, to avoid marathon board meetings. Our staff recommended that. No, I'm just kidding. But we try to make sure we're very efficient as we possibly can be. And again, this is for the public. The board does their homework in advance. We don't come to a board meeting looking at agendas for the first time. Agendas are given in advance, all the backup materials, so board members are very prepared. Oftentimes, we'll have conversations before board meetings between board members, or board member and superintendent, just to make sure we clearly are articulating what we're trying to accomplish at the board meeting. And sometimes, again, for the public, that's why the meetings go quickly, is because the board has done their homework in advance and not doing it in front of the public. 13, practice efficient decision-making. Again, we don't get into a lot of very long discussions because, again, board members have done their homework in advance. Speak to agenda issues only. And number 15, executive closed sessions will be held only for appropriate subjects, and legislation dictates what the board can talk about in executive session. So those are the 15 items under school board governance that we adopted back in June of 2019. Are we good with those? Any reason to revise or changes? Nope. Okay, and again, that's what we'll do at the work sessions from going forward, 2 or 3 policies at a time until we get through all of them.
Okay, do we have any future agenda items? Anybody needs this done? All right. Action item is our resolution in support of impact fees.
Okay, once again, this was a recommendation from the board. There is currently legislation now being considered that was actually put forward by Representative Todd Jones, and was somebody else on that list? Oh, so, okay, I'm sorry, not Todd Jones, sponsored by Senator Dolezal, Senator Steele, and Dixon. And again, this is around impact fees, and for the most part, this is only going to impact Forsyth County schools, the way the legislation is written. A couple board members recommended that we have a resolution of support, so we can send that to our delegation, so we're speaking as one body, making sure that they understand we absolutely support impact fees moving forward. And so with that, I would recommend that the board do adopt this resolution. If you approve, we'll have all of you sign it, and we'll send it to all members of our delegation tomorrow. Any comments on that? Pretty straightforward, okay.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Willa, second by Tom, all in favor? Unanimous. Okay, do I have a motion to go into executive session for personnel?
So-
Sorry,
Yes.
before I could have said this earlier, but for future agenda items, can we get a legislative update added at the next work session?
Okay.
Yeah, good idea.
All righty, do I have a motion to go into executive session for personnel?
So moved. Second.